Natural occurring colors. In the early 2000s, I worked at a Canadian casino. The place had so many ridiculous rules, including some very particular rules about makeup. The makeup rules were as follows. 1. No fake eyelashes. 2. No fake fingernails or fingernail extensions. 3. No makeup that is not a natural color. The natural color one confused me. What is deemed natural? Who decides what is and isn't natural? I asked my manager for clarification, but she couldn't give me any. Just keep it natural. Use natural occurring colors and you'll be fine. This did not sit well with me. Cue malicious compliance. My aunt has her master's in environmental science. I went to her house one evening and picked her brain about natural occurring colors. She informed me that, scientifically, natural occurring colors are colors that can be found directly in nature. She even showed me a textbook that directly spoke about natural occurring colors. I borrowed the textbook and highlighted the paragraphs that specified this. Keep in mind, this was well before you could just Google something. The only way to back up the claim was to carry that 750-page textbook to work with me. My next shift, I went all out. Green eyeliner, eggplant-colored eyeshadow, yellow nail polish on one hand and mango-colored on the other hand. I hit the floor to work, and within the first few minutes, I get hauled into my manager's office. Up. What do you think you're doing? You cannot wear those colors. You know our policy states natural occurring colors only when it comes to makeup. Head to the staff bathroom immediately and remove it. Wordlessly, I headed to the staff bathroom. But instead of taking the makeup off, I went to my locker, grabbed the textbook and marched back to my manager's office. Excuse me, manager? I am wearing natural occurring colors. Here, look at this textbook that specifically states what natural occurring are. By definition. I watched her face change as she read the book. First she looked pissed, then worried, and then finally resigned herself to what was happening. Up. Do you really need to be that type of person? Quote. Me. The type that follows the rules? I thought that's what you wanted me to do? Quote. She asked me to head back to the floor. For the remaining time I was employed there I wore whatever color makeup I wanted, and so did almost all of my coworkers. They tried coming out with new rules but could never get the wording right. Stupid rules. Malicious compliance for the win. I think the word they were going for is neutral. My high school had a rule that you had to wear solid colored dress pants and dress shirts with a tie. Shirts had to be at least vertically striped or solid color. Well, our buddy Tony decided to test these rules and wore banana yellow dress pants to school. He was immediately sent down to the office after first period. He was told that he had to go home and change, but he asked where it was in our student handbook that he couldn't wear yellow pants. After all, they were a solid color. The following year they updated the handbook to say solid color, and it could only be black, brown, blue or gray. Been there with those stupid rules. My high school had a rule about natural hair colors only. I made the mistake right before I started and had red highlights. That came out a little too bright, and was told not to attend school unless removed for the first day. The best part, the remainder of my years there it was okay for the principals. Not exactly her title, job, but most clear comparison, haha. Daughter and her friends to have hot pink highlights etc. / edit clarity and typos. Ha, sounds like me with my fingernails working for Disney. Nail polish colors being banned or unbanned was dependent entirely on manager, but nail length wasn't. I don't remember the exact measurement anymore, but a manager could have held a ruler to my fingernail and confirmed it was under the max length. A coworker in particular hated this, so every few weeks in staff daily schedules the maximum nail Length was listed to remind this specific person I was fine. OMG, I really needed this today. Loved the manager. Up. Do you really need to be that type of person? Quote. YYYEEEEESSSSSS. Lean and explain what you want. Manager could have explained to you when asked, but decided that was too much trouble. So everyone can look like a fabulous peacock one. As long as keeping natural. Man, I worked at a restaurant once that had a male host that loved to dress up as a woman and wear makeup and nail polish, and the owners of this place held a meeting and banned us all from wearing anything colorful at all, only skin tones for makeup, nails and hair ties. Clothes weren't regulated, but it really put this guy down and he didn't stick around much longer. Which is really sad because he was a huge sweetheart and everyone honestly loved him except the rude and horrible owner. I did similar years ago when those hair feathers were a thing. 10 years ago maybe? My work has a natural hair color rule, but they allowed these things. Even our admin wore one. If you're not familiar with them, they get placed on a small group of hairs. After a few weeks the hair grows and it's removed and/or replaced. So I went ahead with my purple highlights. They only last a few weeks without top shelf upkeep after all. Got called back to talk to the admin, who had feathers in her hair. Yada yada, not a natural hair color. So I pointed out that it's not natural for people to grow feathers on their heads either. And her feathers and my purple would both be gone by the end of a couple months max. She just shook her head and told me to not be literal. But, no, right up. And recently they removed that rule and similar ones. I Googled things all the time in the early 2000s. Good for you. If they want a specific color palette, they can provide it. Lol, the fact that they couldn't see this coming is unbelievable. Well done. Lol, they never even thought to put neutral makeup only. These people are stupid and ridiculous. There is nothing inappropriate or unprofessional about brightly colored makeup. Do I need to be that person? No, but here we are nevertheless. That's so weird. It would have just been easier to say no makeup and no nail polish, period. She informed me that, scientifically, natural occurring colors are colors that can be found directly in nature. You don't say. Maybe it happened the way you said. In my experience, most managers are going to respond with something like, I don't care what your textbook says. This isn't a court of law. The spirit of the rule is clear and I'm the judge what is natural. Go take that makeup off right now and don't do it again. Or you're fired. Color palette limited to colors that occur within the spectrum of healthy human complexions is about as close as I could come up with on short notice. Feel free to pick apart. I would like to see if I can revise to a point that can stump the post audience. Handbook. Don't look like a hoochie mama. Up. And I took that personally. I mean, I guess. My first question was, is that really a hill you want to die on? I worked at a water park that had very antiquated rules about appearance, including separate, acceptable hairstyles for males and females. I liked having long hair, which was forbidden, but I grew it out anyways. My hair looked nice long. It didn't interfere with my job in any way. And guests loved it, of course. Managers hated it, and always told me I needed to cut it. But I refused and said it was an antiquated and discriminatory policy that I wouldn't follow. Unless of course they also mandated females also cut their hair short. They would always threaten punishment. But I was such a good worker I'd get positive guest feedback all the time. The kicker was, It was policy to read all positive feedback at meetings to encourage positive interactions. The trouble was that our name tags were so small and the uniforms made most of us look alike. Tons of compliments were just, "A lifeguard was nice," or, "The shop worker was helpful." Mine? All of them. The lifeguard supervisor with the beautiful long blonde hair was so nice and helpful. They'd occasionally try to overlook them because they didn't include my name. But because we had access to the system, I'd go through them at the end of almost every day and see if any sounded like me. Or my guards. So that we would get credit. There was no sweeter justice than having my managers read out a guest compliment describing my hair. In front of 30+ people, lol. That wasn't a win. That was stupid. It obviously meant natural colors in regards to your complexion. They wanted their employees to have a clean look. How hard is that to comply with? Sounds like a rebellious 4th grader.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.